that decision. I want to have that opportunity to still do senior day, but haven't really thought about it. It's one of the things I'll talk with the coaches in my family to figure out what's best for me. So that's an option. It's going to be great though, no matter what happens. I love playing here in Columbus. It's going to be a great time, and just especially because this game's going to mean a lot in the grand scheme of things. I'm just excited to go out and play every day. So. There's like a couple guys. One of my like good friends from when I was there is still there. He's a 6 year as a DN. I know there's a couple of 6 years that I came in like my recruiting class, but I talked to basically one or two. But then I talked to some other guys that graduated and moved on as well. I don't think it's really anything different. Like, we played there last year. That was my first game actually, like, playing against them. It was one of the things, like, the one guy I'm friends with, after field goals, he was out there on the side, and we'd kind of exchange words, just joking around as friends. But, I view it as any other team we play against. Like, I just got to go out and do my job and execute. So that's really all there is.
I know there's a few guys on this roster that were former Michigan high school football players. And I'm curious about, and I know you didn't get recruited to come to Ohio State, but I'm curious about during the recruiting process, whether it's guys from Michigan, is Ohio State kind of I don't know, like, how is it viewed? Like,
So
in terms of the recruiting process?
That's definitely. I mean, I have a good story with that. When I was in my transfer year, I thought I was going to go to the team up north for the longest time. My brother was there, and it was like a week before I was supposed to sign an apartment lease. I got a call from Coach Combs, and like I talked, like he's like, hey, we're interested. Like we need a guy to come in and like help the team out, like add depth and compete and stuff. And it was one of the things like me and my dad talked. Like you grow up. I remember watching like Troy Smith and stuff. Just I grew up a Big Ten fan, but I grew up a Michigan State fan because my dad went there. And it was one of the things like me and my dad were like, like they're kind of the enemy, but like why not go visit? Like just to say you did, like tick the box. I had zero expectations coming in. I came down, I met with Coach Combs, Coach Meyer at the time, and I ended up loving it. It's been the best decision I could have made since. So it's been great.
What was that reaction to the current game? Was it one of disgust at first?
So I got a text message from my long snapping coach Chris Rubio. He goes, "Hey, Ohio State's going to call you at some point today." And I was like, I looked at him I'm like, are you serious? Like, there's no nah, like that's not real. And then he called me, and it was just one of those things. Like I'd known who Coach Combs was. Like he's a great personality. He's a great guy, great coach. I'm so glad he's back. And it's just like it was like one of those things. It was kind of like surreal in the moment. Like Ohio State's calling me. It's not like I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me and they called me. So that was just a great like experience. And then this is where it's led today. So it's been great.
Have you converted your family into being Ohio State fans?
My family will support me like no matter where I'm at. My brother is amazing. Obviously, he played for Team Up North, but he will come to games. He wears like our gray jersey from 2017 because he goes, it doesn't have scarlet on it, so it counts. But he's awesome like with his support and stuff. But like my family's great, but definitely going back home, like I'm viewed as like the villain, like just because like this guy went to Ohio State, but I love it. I embrace it. It's a great time. Yeah, like absolutely. Like my thing is like I prefer, like this is I think the first time I've ever done media in front of you guys. It's like I'm totally fine like not having my name mentioned or anything. Like last year with guys like Drew and Blake. Hey, like I love those guys, and then this year especially with Jesse and Noah who are both performing really well. It's like my performance, I measure it on what are they doing. Are they doing great? Noah's grows a semifinalist. I think Jesse, if we punted more than pooch punts and stuff, would probably be a Ray Guy finalist. Like he's talented, but it's just like they're doing so well on the field, and like that's the only recognition I need. Is like if they're getting the recognition, that's all I need. It means I'm doing my job. So. So no, this is my 6th year. But when I transferred, I had to sit out in 2017, and then this year was like the year the NCAA gave me back because of that. So then next year would be a COVID year if I decided to come back. So it's kind of wild to think about like 7 years, but it's an opportunity to finish a master's degree and stuff. So it's like it's one of the things I'll address at the end of the season and talk with all the parties involved. So. I am 50-50 split. And it's like I'm not trying to think about it too. I'm trying to focus each week on the game and every day of practice. So it's one of the things like when I have all the variables at the end of the season, I'll make the decision.
I know that,
Mm-hmm.
you have Katie Saunders who's more skilled and for a guy. What's the relationship like with those guys from Michigan? Do you guys have a bond?
it's just one of those things, like, especially like when they first got here, because like, and then you got Grant Toutant as well, who's like, and it's like I'm significantly older than them, but it's one of the things like, hey, like the second they got here, I knew they were from Michigan and stuff. And it was like I went and introduced myself, and then from that moment, like you have that like immediate respect for them, just because like one, it's a rare opportunity for one of us to travel south. I think a lot of other times you see like guys from Ohio go north, but it's really rare for guys to come here. So it's like you automatically have that bond and stuff. So it's just like it's cool. You follow, like, I don't follow recruiting too much, but like Cam Martinez like broke all these state records. So I remember seeing him just on Twitter from like the high school like accounts that I used to always be involved with, like just like, hey, Cam Martinez from Muskegon just doing this and that, like, so like I knew who he was like when we were recruiting him just because he was so talented. But then it's definitely like its own little clique here of just like you have different respect and you always go talk to those guys.
Do you think Michigan gets enough attention from Ohio State in terms of talent, or what was your opinion on that?
I don't really know because I just don't follow like recruiting enough. It's like I think if you're a good player, like you like Ohio State's gonna know you're there, and also I think if you're a good player, why would you not want to come to Ohio State, no matter where you're from? And that's how like, and it's not even just a football decision. Like my decision to come here was probably more based off of school and like how like Columbus and all the connections for like after football. Like if I never played it down to football, like what would my life look like if I chose to go to school here? So like that's why it's like there's so many different factors. Like why wouldn't you come to Ohio State?
Do you feel any extra pressure when you're snapping, knowing that Noah is perfect this year?
Not at all. And it's one of the things like Noah would tell you, it's like we don't think about that. Like for us it's just like every snap at practice is treated, every snap is the exact same as every snap in the game, like whether we're up 40 points or it's to ice the game or whatever. Like it's I think all of us do a really good job of that, and that's like the benefit of one, Jesse's 24, me and Noah are both 23. Like we're probably one of the oldest specialist units, so it's just like it's a different mature approach that like, hey, like every rep is just like practice. It's nothing different. Like it's just we try to make every rep the exact same. So it's been a really fun time this year just with a professional unit.
Obviously, Noah came in the summer. When did you tell that he, was really good at kicking and had this ability to be as consistent as he is?
I mean, fall camp was great, and like the fall camp kicking competition was great to be a part of, just because both kickers I had confidence in both kickers, and that's why it was just so amazing to watch. It was one of the things I had no clue in the decision making process. It was one of the things like no matter who it was, they both kicked so well, and it was one of the things like Noah's just really smooth. And it's like, and just his confidence. Like he doesn't talk a lot, he doesn't show a lot of emotion. It's just he just steps up, hits the kick. That's all you need. It's a different approach, and like so I was like credit to both kickers because they both really crushed it during camp, and been like and Noah's just proven that like, hey, like what I did in camp is just continuing down the road.
Has Jesse taught you at all about Australian culture?
I'm like we go back and forth all the time about it because we lived together for like the first 8 months and stuff here, and like I had a good relationship with Cam too, just because like he would come in and train and stuff. But like his mom sends over, she just sent over one last week, but she did it in the summer, like a massive box of stuff. And he's got like all these like Australian snacks that he's like you gotta try this, like this is better. He won't shut up about Australian coffee and how coffee here is so bad, and that he has to have his like perfect cup of coffee, and that back home is so much better. So you hear that, and then he made me try is it Vegemite?
Yeah.
That is disgusting. It is bad, but I guess it's what they eat over there. Like I thought it was awful, but he made us all like, cause I live with Thayer, so he lived with me and Thayer, and he made me and Thayer try it, and Thayer was like, this is just awful. Like it was bad, but it's good. Just like you mess around about it. The O-line love his accent and everything, so it's a good time.
Is there any